I have everybody's attention now?
Yeah.
Hi!
Friends like these, huh, Gary? And here we go.
And welcome to the second episode 2 of the With Friends Like These podcasts. This time I'm here with my good friend, Eric Garbaldi, my former guitarist, Eric Garbaldi.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Episode 2, like, I almost wanted to say, like, well, I didn't almost want to say it because I am going to say it, but, like, episode 2, Attack of the Friends. You know, even though people I think that's the one that people give the most shit for, right? Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That's, like, the one that people hate the most, or something like that. I don't know.
Jar Jar Binks.
I'm not a Star Wars,
I think he
like,
was in the
fanatic.
second one.
I've seen them all, and, like, I haven't seen them in a while, but anyways. But yeah, so Attack of the Friends.
Attack of the
I
Friends.
will attack you.
I think that, hey, I name every single episode. I think that's
Attack
what
of the
this
Friends.
one, Attack of the Friends.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Your bill's in the mail.
You will not be getting paid for that one.
I'm getting paid for today, though, right?
Yeah. You see that beverage? in
Oh
front
yeah,
of
yeah. That's right. I am actually. You're right. Winter warmer.
you? So it is what,
Halloween.
like 10 something right now?
It's my watch says 10:15 in the morning.
10:15 in the morning, and we are already drinking beer. I'm slightly awake. How about you?
I'm all right. I'm doing all right. I will say though that coffee and beer don't really get. Now I'm not mixing them together. I'm having them like back to back, and it's not going very well. I should probably stop. Just stick to one.
Stick to the beer.
Yeah, stick to one. Yeah.
I'm vouching for the beer. I don't know about you. So
Well-
we're gonna do this one a little differently this time. You were here for the first one, and
I was
for
here the
people
first
listening, if you heard the first one, you remember a guitar playing plaid shirt man.
Yeah, I almost put on a plaid shirt. I was telling you earlier. I almost put on a plaid shirt, but you know, sometimes when you wake up and you go to get dressed or whatever, or you shower and you go to get dressed, and you're just kind of like, man, I really wish I could think of something to wear. What should I wear? And then you realize that you're wearing the perfect thing the whole time. And I was just like, yeah, I'm wearing this shirt.
So a red shirt and
Yeah,
jeans.
a red shirt and jeans, and I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm good.
I'm disappointed with that. There's no UMass Lowell shirt.
Yeah, well, you know, beggars
Steve will
can't be
be too.
choosers.
Steve will be.
Yeah,
very
well,
disappointed.
Steve can go fuck himself, but you know, but no, it's you know, it's funny if there's a few things that people should know about me, and well, not a few things, but one of the things is that I'm 9 times out of 10 I'm always wearing a UMass Lowell t-shirt. So,
This is.
and it's
very
not
true.
really. I don't think it's a problem.
How many do you own?
I own 4. I own 4. One of them I don't really wear out because it's not blue. It's just like it's an alumni t-shirt, and like, you know, I went to UMass Lowell, by the way. I'm just putting that out there. It's not like I went to some other school and wearing some random school's clothes.
Like
I have 4 shirts, and one of them is what I call my dress shirt because it's it basically looks like a reject from an Abercrombie and Fitch catalog. So like I'll wear that when I want to look nice, or it's a slimmer fitting shirt, so I'll wear that underneath other shirts or whatever. So, you know, so it's always there. It might not be visible, but it's always there, you know. And I get yelled at a lot about it from everyone, literally everyone yells at me for wearing a UMass Lowell shirt.
Yeah, it does get kind of annoying when I feel like you haven't changed your shirt for 6 days.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath. There's always like a chance that I'm wearing clothes that I wore the day like before.
Is that why my room smells already?
Yes,
All right,
it's
I'm
possible.
glad we got that.
It's possible.
I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Oh man.
All right, so we're doing this in 2 parts this time
Mhm.
because the last time was epically long and the editing process grueling. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if anybody out there listened to the entire thing, well, the finished edited version, but I didn't. I still have yet to actually.
I mean, I was here for it, and I didn't listen to it either. Like,
No,
I told myself, I was like, yeah, you know, I'll check it out just to see how it turned out. I didn't. I got to tell you, man, I did not listen to it.
I listened to it 2 or 3 times to do the editing.
Sure.
And after that, the last time I was just like, I don't know if I missed anything. I don't care. I think I got it all. This is it. It's down to like 2 hours and 19 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
I like everything that's in here, or for what I heard. Here it is. I'm sure there's some dead space I forgot to cut out. There's some.
Oh, you know what? And there will be some more dead space today, I got to tell you.
I'm sure.
Maybe
there will
about the banter about the UMass Lowell shirt will get cut out.
be. Maybe. No, I I like it. It's you,
It is me.
and it's annoying. It's you.
That's also me.
So, well, I still haven't finished. 2-parter. So, first part, we're talking about your life, what you do, music, and we're going to take a second part and a mutual hobby of ours, horror films.
Hmm.
And you seem to be a pretty big horror buff, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah. The
more
the
so
other
than
thing,
me at least.
the second thing to know about me. So step 1, UMass Lowell t-shirts. Step 2, I like a lot of older things. And when you told me that we were going to start talking about horror movies on this episode, I was thinking to myself, man, like I'm not up to date with anything in terms of horror films. It's like, because I'll hear people talking about, oh, did you go see this one or that one? I'm like, nah, like I watched The Exorcist for the 12th millionth time. That's just how I am. I like a lot of older things. I'll be happy watching the same like 3 to 5, which you'll find out what those are. 3 to 5 movies like over and over again. And I'm totally cool with it, and it's fine. And like, excuse me, I like coming across people who haven't seen them, at least to the abundance that I have, because it's like, yeah, oh, another person can tell me about how awful Saw 5 was. Or whatever it is, and I could just be like, yeah, well, The Omen's pretty fucking good. The original, the remake wasn't that bad either, but the original. I like a lot of originals. I'm not a fan of remake. Well, I won't say I'm not a fan of remakes. I just don't go out of the way.
We'll talk more about that.
Yes, we will.
Episode 2. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, episode 2, part 2.
There's too many twos.
So tell me a little bit about your personal life. Not that I don't know it.
My
but,
personal life. Well,
I
let's
mean,
see.
Just tell.
I'm a
tell them
Virgo.
who you are.
I'm a Virgo. I don't like long walks on the beach.
No.
There's too many people there.
What about pina coladas?
I mean,
Getting caught in the rain.
no, I hate that.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
Anyways, no, I'm born and raised in Haverhill, Mass, and graduated from Haverhill High and lived there my whole life until just recently I moved to Methuen. And I started doing music. Now, like you said, I do music. I'm the music guy. I found out early on that I really didn't have an interest in anything else besides music. So I kind of lucked out. I had this path kind of paved for me in terms of knowing what I wanted to do, throughout my whole life. I started playing piano when I was 4 years old. And I sucked at it, obviously, because I was 4 years old. And I think around when I was in the 4th or 5th grade, I don't remember which it was, but that's when I actually first started playing guitar. And I absolutely know for a fact that I fucking hated it. I hated the guitar so much. It was too big. I couldn't hold it. My fingers hurt when I was playing the strings. So basically, all the things that my students now complain to me about are the things that I complained about. So it's like, oh yeah, it gets better.
It's funny because when I first started picking up instruments, I was more forced. I mean, I come from a family of musicians, so they were like, hey, guess what? You're going to play piano. You're going to play guitar. You're going to sing. And I was just like, no.
And that's a
No, I'm
beautiful
not.
thing too, because I came from a family of all athletic people.
Okay.
Like I have a whole line of athletes in my family, and I'm one of the only musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of was just kind of on my own. And I didn't mind it, because when you're young, you don't really know the difference between being influenced by those around you and being influenced by what you find attractive to yourself, So, and it kind of, and like I said, it kind of made it easier for me when I decided that music was just what I wanted to do. So after I realized how much I hated guitar, I actually started playing trumpet that was absolutely in the 5th grade. I know that for a fact. I started playing trumpet when I was in the 5th grade, and I stopped probably sometime in high school. And I didn't pick up the guitar again until I became a freshman in high school. So that was what? I'm bad with years, but that was a long time. Between 5th and 8th grade, I didn't touch the thing. And then a friend of mine came over my house one day. It was the summer before going into high school. And he comes over and he brings his guitar. I'm like, oh, dude, you started playing guitar. That's awesome. It was electric. It was an SG. It was a SG knockoff from somewhere. My buddy Craig. Hey, Craig. And he comes over and he brings his rig. He brings his little tiny shitty amp and he brings this awesome multi-effects thing. And he starts playing the riff to Iron Man. And I was like, well, that's the coolest fucking thing in the world. I want to do that. So I started taking lessons again. And, and here I am.
That's usually how it works. Something like that. It's usually always a similar story.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Mine, like I said, it was kind of forced to play, and I didn't hate it, but I just didn't want to at that time. I just was a kid, and I'm like, I don't want to sit and practice. Some things never change.
Yeah, I mean, practicing. Oh, I mean, I can go on and on and on about practicing the pros and the cons. I mean, I don't really think about the cons, but I feel like there could be some if you really thought about it. So yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I can go on and on about also how it really came to be that I was going to pursue it, because at the time, here I was, a freshman in high school, and I was wearing my big ass black gothic pants from Hot Topic,
of course,
playing Iron Maiden riffs and Metallica riffs and loving metal music and all this stuff. I had no idea I was going to go to college for it and do what I do now. If I knew that then, it probably would have turned out a lot different. I don't know how different, and I don't know in which way, but I feel like it could have.
What I should have said, yes, but this, still me being new as a host here, not getting this shit straight. Eric is a professional musician. He has worked his way through and through to make it this far, and he now makes money playing music. And he'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go on.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't like to act like it's an easy job, because it's not an easy job at all. I also don't like to act like it's a difficult job, because 9 times out of 10, learning a song and playing it correctly is like the 10th thing I have to worry about. There's so many other things that come, and that's like any job. And I mean, I have no idea what it's like to be like a medic, or a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. I'm sure there's struggles with everything, but I know for a fact that playing a song
for a second.
Yes.
If you listen to the first episode of
which I didn't.
But if you did, you have a little bit more insight on what it's like to be an EMT and a paramedic.
Right. Yep.
Plug. Let's go into where and how we met.
Okay.
Northern Essex, right?
Yeah. Before I went to Lowell, I did my 2 years at Northern Essex Community School, community college, and we didn't really start talking until I was almost out, or we were almost out.
Yeah, no, we were in Langer's. We had a couple of Langer's class.
Yeah,
hey, Langer.
We were just like I remember the first few classes that I had there was packed, like a full room.
Yeah,
the first few semesters there in Music Theory 1.
Music Theory 1 and 2 were
just loaded, because Music Theory 1, I'm pretty sure it's like this a lot of places.
I don't know
it's
if
an
we
elective.
Had the same Music Theory class, but did yours start to dwindle down after a few episodes?
Yeah. Like Music Theory 1 was considered to be an elective. So if you were like a science major, you could take it as an elective, and it wouldn't do any, and then you're done.
And most people look at it just like gym class. It's like, oh, hey, take it and
I mean,
breeze through it.
It's funny. To study music at a higher level of learning is a funny thing, because even at places like Lowell, you see people come in not knowing how to read music. I mean, and then by the end of it, when they graduate, they sure as hell know how to read it, because it's just what you have to do. But there would be people coming in not even knowing how to play any instrument, and they'd just be like, I want to be a music major. Well, okay, what do you play? Oh, you have to play something? It's like, what do you mean do I have to play something? Like, yes, you have to play something, or sing, or whatever you do. So yeah, we had a few classes, and then
if I remember correctly, the reason we started talking is because I think for whatever reason in the class we were talking about what we do with music, and I was like, oh yeah, I record, I write, And you're like, oh, I do too. I should give you some of my stuff sometime.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we exchanged.
Yeah, and you
each
were like, oh,
other's
you should give me
stuff.
some of yours. Worst mistake of your entire life.
Yeah, I don't like my stuff. I hated my stuff.
No,
I
no,
still do.
you asking me for mine was
Oh.
was the worst mistake you ever could have made.
Yeah, well, you know. I was
Because
trying to
now
be-
here you are. You have been on. I can't even count count how many tracks of mine you've been on.
tracks, I don't know. At least 2 CDs worth.
Yeah,
At least.
two albums.
Yeah.
The Regret album and No Turning Back.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the first song we ever did together was the one I did for my next door neighbor
Mhm.
when I had thought he had been killed in action.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gave It All.
Yeah. No, we did another one before
No,
that.
Gave It All was the first, and then we did Regret.
No, dude, we did one at Necco.
Oh shit!
We recorded one at
Oh,
Necco.
that's right. I brought my
We brought the
entire
rig.
gear.
We brought the rig and we set it
Oh,
up in one of the
shit.
tiny ass practice rooms. And we were just like, "Oh, just do whatever you want." And I was like, "I don't know what to fucking do." Like, what do you mean do whatever I want? Like, "Oh, do you want to hear some Blink? Okay, I could do that, but it's not really fitting."
Oh,
But yeah, and then yeah,
Twisted.
no,
The
you're right.
song
Then
was-
we did
the
that.
song was Twisted. That's right. I brought my little pod over. I brought my
Yeah.
computer,
Yeah,
and you just ripped a solo.
and then after that, you're right. We did the Gave It All
That's
song.
the first one you did here. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I really wanted. For me, that was like an internal struggle because that song was, "Hey, this is my kind of tribute to my friend, who didn't die, by the way."
Oh, good.
Which is great. And you met him. That was an emotional fucking day though, giving him that song. Ooh,
Mm.
That's another story though. But no, I wanted it to be good, and I thought it was good, but it was missing something, and I was just like, it needs
Needs a little bit of Eric.
Yes, it needs
A
some.
lot of things in life need a little bit of Eric.
It needs a little extra. It needs some guitar. It needs some guitar tracks, and especially at that time,
Mm.
I did not have what it takes to even. I could have tried, and it wouldn't have sounded good.
That's still one of my, thinking back on all the songs that we did together. That's still one of my favorite solos that I ever laid down.
Yeah, no, that,
Easily. I don't remember how it goes now, but I remember it being one of my favorites, and if I were to listen to it again, it could probably come back real quick.
Probably one of my favorites too. That and the Regret solo. That will always be a good one for me.
It was cool too, because basically, so what you did was you just had me come in and redo things that you would put down as rough mixes, and be like, okay, could we just clean these up a little bit? And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, sure, that works. And we did that for, like you said, 2 albums worth.
Well, the first album I had written entirely, and I did the rhythm tracks on it, if I remember right. And I was just like, I need leads. So you came in and did all the leads over it.
Right. Yep, that's right.
And then we were in Lowell at the time, and we were talking about doing a second album together.
Yep.
And I remember I took the entire summer. I was such a freaking hermit, and wrote, God, what, 14-something songs, maybe 14, 15.
Sounds about right.
And I had demoed them all out, and I was just like, all right, Eric, just clean them up, and let's make it sound good.
Yeah, and it was an opportunity for me to start doing stuff, to force myself to do stuff that I wasn't really keen on doing. Well, keen isn't the word. It's something that was out of my element.
Yeah.
In high school, I was in a few different groups, and we didn't do anything like the stuff that you did. We were rejected Ramones style stuff, but more melodic sounding. So it was a mess. But I have a lot of fond memories of that group in high school, but it was completely different in terms of what you were doing.
Mm.
And so here I was just being like, okay, so I have to start acting like something I'm not. Okay, I can do that.
But see, sometimes, for me at least, doing that kind of creates another animal kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like you could. I still listen to it today. Like I go back and I'll listen to No Turning Back or the Regret album, and when your solos play, that's still in my head. Not what I'm expecting to hear, but it works great. I don't know. It's like. I don't really have the words for it.
Yeah, I don't know if there will ever be a way to really like pinpoint it, because I'm not a hard rock guy. I'm not really a metal guy anymore. Even when I was a metal fan, I couldn't play like that real well. And so it's really just a mix of, of a player, of an individual playing an instrument the way that they know how in any setting that they're put into.
Yeah.
A good example of this, ready? If you want a good example, folks, go and listen to the Fall Out Boy cover of Beat It by
I
Michael
do
Jackson.
actually enjoy that.
John Mayer plays the solo on
Yeah.
that. Now, thinking about the original, Eddie Van Halen, of course, one of the best solos in pop music ever, is the Beat It solo by Eddie Van Halen. So John Mayer comes in, and you're like, okay, well, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to try to do, like, the way that Eddie did it? Or is he going to do his own thing? And he totally did his own thing. And it wasn't a bad solo, but you're just listening to it, and you're like, yeah, that's not right. Like, something's not right about that. It was a killer solo in its own right, and in a different setting, yeah, sure, it'd probably be great. But was it the right setting for that? Who knows? But like you said, it kind of switches things up in a way that isn't easy to pinpoint.
Yeah.
It works, and it's showcasing an individual player in any situation that they're
See,
put into.
I loved it, even though it's not what you would expect to hear. I liked it because it was different.
Yeah.
And plus I've always been a fan of your playing. Yeah, go ahead. But no, and I love it. I still go back and listen to them every once in a while, and every time the solo comes on, they're at least maybe because they're my children, if you will. But your solos aren't; they're yours. They're probably my favorite part of the songs.
Well, thank you.
And I can remember them like as clear as day every time they come on.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes I'll listen to an old one and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember doing that." And other times I'm like, "Oh god, I remember how long it took us to get that." Like, because like some of the solos, like I'm not gonna lie, some of the solos I could probably do without.
Yeah.
Like there were a few occasions where I was just like, "All right, I hit all the right notes. Let's just leave it at that."
I remember specifically the song "Yesterday." You hated that solo. You were just like, I don't care. This is like the sixth one I've tried.
I don't remember which one that one is, but I remember there was one where I pieced it together in sections, and I had a title for each section. Like, oh, okay, here's the Allman Brothers section. Here's the Jeff Beck section.
Yes.
And like they didn't go together at all. It was just like, oh, look at me.
That was our experimental song, and I love that song.
Yeah.
I think
I
that
don't
came
remember
out
what it was.
great. The Allman, yes, exactly. The Allman Brothers.
And I was just like, okay, well, those are things that could exist as musical thoughts. So let's just put them together and see what happens. And listening to it as a whole, you're just like, yeah, like that was okay. Like, it was cool. You did a good job, but if I had a chance to do it again, I probably would do completely different.
The song, if I remember right, was called "Such a Fool." That's what the song was called. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Oh my god, one of my favorites.
It's like paint by numbers.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, play this type of style here, and do the like. Okay, whatever.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that song tonight. Oh my god. So, all right, as a musician, as someone who plays music all the time, what do you typically listen to?
Oh God. What's funny? I feel like this is a question that you see whenever you watch interviews with artists on YouTube or whatever you're watching,
which I watch
and
a
like
lot of.
they do a lot of interviews. I feel like they get these type of questions a lot. But like, I gotta be honest, I've never once walked up to a guy I work with, like from down the street, and be like, "So what do you listen to?" Like, it's just kind of funny because we're all sort of influenced by different things, and I'm sure if you asked any famous musician or whatever, they would say the same thing as I'm about to say. But to be honest, besides the select few things that I will always listen to, I listen to pretty much anything. Okay, so that being said, 1, The Police. 2, Jeff Buckley. 3, everything else. It's those two. Really, I mean, I could say good things about a lot of different things that I listen to. I'm a huge jazz fan. I like a lot of earlier jazz, like swing stuff, like big band stuff, and stuff from the hard bop era. Not big on fusion stuff, but I guess if we're talking more specifically rock fusion, I've never been able to really get into it the way that other people are.
For me, you've always kind of been the jazz guy.
Yeah, I mean, I do like it. That's what I studied at school. You know, I still play it on time. You know, every now and then. Unfortunately, not as much as I'd like to, but that's another story. I'm a huge fan of the Police, like I said. Jeff Buckley as well. You know, Jeff Buckley was one of the dudes that my guitar teacher showed me when I was first learning.
Is that you see? I've always been curious how, because I know your Jeff Buckley is my Godsmack.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how were you introduced to Jeff Buckley?
So I was taking lessons when I, like, going back to what I said earlier, I started taking lessons again when I was going into my freshman year of high school, and I studied with this guy, Ben Goldbaum, out of Haverhill, and he's still doing really well over there. You guys should check his stuff out. He's doing a great job for the city of Haverhill and the younger kids that go through there. He showed me pretty much everything. Like, what he would do is when I would go to his lessons, we would work on stuff, but then another part of the lessons would be he would just burn me CDs of stuff. You know, I got Maiden stuff from him. I got Hendrix stuff from him. I got a bunch of oddball stuff from him, like this band called the Pentangle, which spawned a guy by the name of Bert Jansch, who became a really big folk guitar icon. So, you know, I got introduced to a lot of stuff. The Mars Volta, he would burn me the Mars Volta. He burnt me a bunch of Beatles stuff, you know, everything you can think of, he would give me a CD for. And I loved it, you know, because here I was, I'd just go home and put it on and be like, okay, like, I dig this, or okay, you know, I'm not really into this, or whatever. So you could pick and choose. When you have such a large amount coming in, you can pick and choose what really sticks. And then one day I go into my lesson and he hands me this burned CD and it says Jeff Buckley on it. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, you know, so I go home and I listened to it and didn't really get into it.
Really?
My first listen, I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. I don't really know what's going on. Where's my Iron Maiden CD? Let me get back to my Hendrix and my Maiden and, you know, stuff like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a known fact by, like, in my circle of friends.
I have never known that.
When I
just
first
assumed
listened to
when
Jeff
you heard
Buckley, it
was
really
like
didn't stick
gold.
at all. Like, it's not like by bar 3 I was like, yes, this is it. So I started to listen to a lot of stuff outside of my quote comfort zone, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, this is probably around senior year of high school. And I went back and I went through all those CDs again that I had. I was still seeing Ben at this time, but one day I was just going through all the stuff he'd given me. And I pulled out the Jeff Buckley CD again and I listened to it again. And I was like, I clearly missed something last time, because
So this was
is
like
amazing.
months or years afterwards?
this is at least a few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah. And at that point, after I did that, and I really started to listen to what was going on with a Buckley song, I mean, I was all set. I was like, this is all I need, you know. And there's a lot of stuff about Jeff Buckley that people like. Most of the time, it's his voice, and it's what his songs themselves. He was a really creative songwriter, and his story is really good too. I mean, the whole thing with his dad and whatever. You know, there's a great movie that came out a while back, if you guys want to go check it out, about his whole story and how his career started. But anyways, song wise, I loved it. It was so creative, and I remember talking to friends of mine who were also into Buckley, and they're like, yeah, he's kind of like the Jimi Hendrix of the 90s as far as guitar players went. You know, it was a real simple setup, you know, and that's another thing. I'm a gearhead, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he just had a Telecaster and an amp, and that was it.
See, I didn't know that.
I mean, every now and then he had other stuff going on, but for the most part, it was just him and a guitar. And that, like, in one of his breakthrough releases was an EP that he did at a club in New York City, in the Village, and that was it. It was just him and a guitar, and it was like 5 songs long, and it was the greatest thing ever. It's just, you know, so it's a very interesting thing, and people will find a lot of things that they like or hate about Buckley. You know, Buckley is definitely not liked by everyone. I remember a lot of people would just kind of look at me and be like, "Really, you're like that obsessed with Buckley?" I'm like, yeah, man, I am.
I know.
And
I
there's
know
a
how
lot.
that one is.
There's a lot of people who are in that same class. You know, like, and that's like that with, you could say that about so many artists. You know, they have like the clubs that are just diehard fans, and then there's just the people on the outside looking in. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you obsessed with this? And that's one of the beautiful things about music. It's gonna reach so many different people in so many different ways.
So you talked about earlier that, about how when you first decided that this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, I guess I'm kind of wondering, like, when you decide that, what does it take to get to this point? I mean, well, I guess maybe not so me, because I kind of tried to take that path and went a different route, but for you, what did it take?
You know what? It's a funny thing. And I'm going to sound like a fucking Hallmark card, but honestly, I think everyone has to kind of find their own path, find their own way of getting something accomplished. And this isn't just with music. You could say this about anything in life.
This is
like, oh my God, how do I get a Maserati? Well, I don't really know, but something tells me you need some money to do so. So, however you get that money is how you're going to get that Maserati. However you get a career is how you're going to get that career. And I think the thing I enjoy about music so much is the fact that you meet so many different people who've come from all walks of life to do the same thing that we're doing. I've been on numerous gigs where I'll meet these people, most of the time for the first time, and hearing about everyone's story or where they came from and how they got to where they are. It's always so interesting.
So
some advice.
So what's your story?
My story. Okay, so my story was my story is kind of boring. Well, not boring, but my story isn't really that exciting. I took lessons. I have a musical education. I have a background in knowing how to operate as a musician. The day I found out that you could study music in college, I was all set. I did not at one point did I was I, oh my God, what am I going to do in school? The second I knew that you could do music in school at a higher level of education, I was like, boom, that's what I'm going to do.
Now, do you remember that day, like that moment of clarity where you were like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I mean, unfortunately, I don't remember like the specific, like what I was doing, when I heard about it, but I do know for a fact that I was in high school. I was still doing lessons. I was still learning everything I could about the guitar. And it's got to be, this is probably got to be my junior year, because that's when you start applying for college in high school. So here I am being like, okay, well, what am I going to do? So, of course, just kind of not really knowing what I wanted to do, I applied to Berklee. I've started studying. I learned all about Berklee from studying one of the guitar books that they had from the Berklee Press library. That's about all the information I knew about Berklee. I was like, oh, there's this school in Boston. I live close to Boston. Let's go there. I didn't get in. My grades kept me out. Music-wise, I got in, but my grades in high school, because I sucked as a student, my grades kept me out. And I look back on that day when I found out that I wasn't going to Berklee, I was upset because, I got rejected from a school. I think I was more upset with the fact that I got rejected from going to a college rather than the fact that it was specifically Berklee. So, unfortunately, what I did, and I do not recommend this to anybody, unfortunately, that's all I did. I only applied to Berklee. I didn't apply anywhere else. They tell you, oh, make sure you have a backup school. Make sure you do all this. Yeah, I didn't do any of that shit. And that was my fault. So, not to cheapen this, but that's how I ended up going to Northern Essex. Just because I didn't have a backup plan. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll just go there and take care of the boring classes there and then worry about it when the time comes. And that's underselling. That sounds like it's underselling the school, because I think NECO is great. If you use NECO to your advantage, NECO can be a great place.
I agree thoroughly.
There's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with community college. There's nothing.
Mm-mm.
That's
Especially
where you can go.
NECO.
Especially NECO. NECO's one of the best ones in the state, from what I've heard. Because even at Lowell, when I was at Lowell, a lot of SRT guys would go do calculus at Middlesex.
Yeah.
During the summer, because the fucking calculus class at Lowell was too difficult. And it was like, well, this is stupid, because you need that class to graduate. So they would go get the credit at a community college. And, so if you know how to work it, it can be a lifesaver. you know, or better yet, a money saver, you know, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So after that, I met you and all that stuff that happened in Necco that we just talked about. And then I went to Lowell and I started realizing that, you know what, there's a lot of stuff that I can do as a guitar player for a career. It's hard to get started because I'm still working on it. So I'll let you know I'll let you know when I'm done how it went. But honestly, it's what you can make out of any situation. You know, I'm constantly going through Craigslist looking for work. I've gotten some of my best gigs off of Craigslist, really. Word of mouth, obviously, you hear that a lot about a lot of things like this. Word of mouth, it's who you know, it's who you worked with, it's how you represent yourself as a player and as a person in general. You know, I got a call the other day. I've never heard of this person in my life, but they called me up and said, "Oh, hey, this person told me that you're a pretty cool guy, and you know, you can be counted on. I need someone to do this gig for me. Can you do it?" Like, yeah, man. You know, I appreciate the phone call. Absolutely, I'd love to help you out. And boom, now I know that guy. So that's sort of how it works in this business. And I want to take this opportunity to say that I am in no way a veteran. You know, I'm 25 years old. I've been out of school for 2 years. I'm not at that point yet where I can look back and be like, yeah, I know how things work. I'm still looking at how things work. You know, I've done a lot of things, but I haven't done like 20, 30, 40 years worth of a lot of things. I'm still young. So I don't really consider myself an expert or a veteran, as I said, because, you know, that's just something, you know, I'll play with people who are 20 years older than me and be like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing this." And hearing some of the people that these people have worked with, it's incredible. I love, I'm kind of a sucker for stories like that. Like, "Oh yeah, I played this gig with, you know, oh, my band, we opened for the Goo Goo Dolls." Like, what? That's awesome. You know,
That is pretty cool.
Um,
I would
and
kill
stuff
to
like
do
that. You know, I mean, and I've met, that's another cool thing about this business is you get to meet a lot of cool people and you get to do a lot of cool things. And it's honestly, I can go on and on and on about it and avoid this one word, but I'm not going to, because honestly, it takes a lot of luck. Sometimes it's just luck. I got lucky with some stuff that I ended up getting the chance to do.
It's funny. I was watching the Celiurna documentary thing that I got in my huge
Yep.
fucking box set.
Sure.
And one of the DVDs, it's just the whole interview, like the uncut interview, and he's talking about how he truly believes when it comes to music, it's a little bit of talent and a lot of luck.
Oh yeah.
That's
mean,
kind of his phrase for
You
it
could
all.
be one of my most successful gigs right now. I got off of fucking Craigslist, you know, and this gig has taken me to Nashville, to Florida, on 2 radio tours and a bunch of different locations around New England. Like, you know, and I got it off of fucking Craigslist.
And we'll get into that a little later when you know we talk about what you're currently working on. But like you were talking about how, you know, you're kind of new to this and you know, you've only been doing it for what, about 2 years now.
Yeah.
At least out of school.
Yeah, yeah.
Making money with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was doing stuff during school too, but it's sort of like once you get the degree, then okay, now we start.
Yeah. Now I'm professional. Like that
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
that, now
Yeah.
I'm a professional.
Yep.
Like it's not all right. When people think professional musician, unless you are a fucking rock star who is touring the country, even that doesn't even fucking make it anymore half the time. It's not a glorious lifestyle.
No.
Not what people seem to think it is, or at least it's not what it was
The
10,
problem,
15 years ago.
Yeah, the problem I have with it.
So what is it really like?
Okay, well, I'm going to start off by saying that I am not a rock star. I'm not famous. So, that being said, I feel like a lot of people get the wrong idea. It's a lot of work. Like it's just plain and simple. It's a lot of work. These people who everyone has heard of before, they got to that point from a few different things. A lot of work, a lot of money, and a lot of time wasted that they're not going to get back. You know, there's a saying that we use that it will take you 4 years to get 4 fans. You know, that's just how it is. That's the god awful truth about this whole thing. You could do so much work. You could spend hours upon hours practicing, recording, writing, and a lot of money. You can spend a lot of money, of your own money, mind you, not anybody else's money, your money, to get absolutely nowhere. And it will take a lot of time out of your, that ages you a little bit. And granted, and I can't stress enough, I'm not an expert with this stuff. I'm not a solo artist. I'm not going down that path. I'm simply, I pride myself in being someone that someone else needs to rely on in terms of a player. Not to sound conceited or anything like that. I'm talking about a player. Let people who want to write and want to be a solo artist and create their masterpiece, like yourself. You needed someone to help you achieve your dream or your vision. Let me be that person. That's the type of person that I like to be. That's the musician that I want to be. I want to be someone who can be relied on from someone else. I don't want to have the pressure of fucking writing the shit. Let the fucking songwriters who are experts and professionals and have written songs for countless artists do that. I'm not going to write the next hit. I'm just not.
So
and once I got to a point where I can admit that to myself.
Some people would just say you're a studio musician.
Or a musician, not even studio, but yes, you're right. A studio player or just a player. I enjoy being the hired gun. I really do. And that's a studied thing. A lot of music majors end up doing that.
I've also heard the term session player.
Session
too.
player. Yeah. Same idea. Yeah. The idea of, I'll get called to do a jazz gig with my group. I'll get called to do the country gig, a cover gig, whatever it is. And I can do all of them because I don't stick to one thing, A, but B, I like to. I don't want to do just one thing. That means to me, when I think of just doing one thing for the rest of my life, I get kind of sick at the idea. It's like,
I understand. That's why it's like I'm trying to put my hand in everything at this point. I mean, I'm doing the podcast. Yeah. I'm doing the music, and
I think everyone
trying to do other things on the side.
And the nice thing is, and this doesn't apply to music. This can apply to anything. It's like, who wants to do the same thing for the rest of their life? I don't think anybody does. And if you do, then that's fine. If you're a cool enough person, I'll still be friends with you. That's not going to be something that people will judge you by. But I just feel like people need to. I want people to want to do different things. I guess if I can be as romantic as I can.
Sam would love to hear that.
Yeah. Hi, Sam. It's, and the cool thing is, and again, I can go on and on about this, and I feel like I'm rambling, but music allows people to do a lot of different things. Because if you can play something, then you can play music. If people are like, oh, okay, you're a jazz player, so that means you can probably play through a couple of blues songs. Like, yeah, I've done it before. So boom, that's another thing you can venture out into. Or it's like, oh, okay, you played cover songs, so you probably played these tunes before, so you could probably come and play with our cover group, and then this cover band, and whatever it is. And like, yeah, like that's great. Or you could play acoustic guitar. Okay, great. We could do this thing where you strum chords, and then you could do this other thing that you need to strum chords, and it's just this big circle that just keeps going and doesn't stop. And that is so much more appealing to me personally than trying to fucking do the hustle, trying to make it as a solo artist. I didn't want anything to do with it. That's way too much emotional stress.
And you're absolutely right. That's where we differ completely. Now, you talked about, you trying to get everywhere and not just do one thing. What are the current projects you're working on?
Right now, I teach. First and foremost, I do teach. I like to say first and foremost because that's the one thing that's always going to be kind of constant, I guess is the word I can use. Unfortunately, teaching is something that, well, I won't say unfortunately, but teaching is something that I can always rely on. I'll say it like that. But in terms of projects, right now I'm playing guitar in a country act out of Maine for an artist named Lexi James. You can go online and you can check her out.
Yeah, definitely feel free to promote. Like that's what this is here for.
No, it's her name's Lexi James. Her website is lexijamesmusic.com. Really, really fun group of guys to play with. She's a great artist to work for. She's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun doing stuff on the road when I've gone away with the group, and we get to do a lot of these cool things. We've been to Nashville. I've been to Nashville twice now, and there's talk we're going down in June again for
I cannot
something.
tell
I forget
you
what
how
it is.
jealous of you I am right now.
No, it's fun. You know, it's a lot of fun. We just did a thing down in Tampa, back in December for this charity event that was hosted by the Charlie Daniels Group, and I didn't meet Charlie, but she sang on stage with him and all this stuff. But so there's that, and that's that's the gig that I got off of Craigslist that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I responded to an acoustic guitar player ad, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, maybe I could switch over to electric, but you know,
No
and
such lucky so far, huh?
and actually no, there was a moment I thought I was going to get my shot, but I'm strictly acoustic with that gig. And actually, this month marks my 1 year with that group now. So
Congratulations.
thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun ride, and I'm happy to be a part of it. They do a lot of great stuff, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Quick side story we
Sure.
can talk about Lexi, that is actually. It goes back to the Sad Cafe.
Oh my god, I love telling them that story too. By the way, I've told
sure
them
you do.
I've told them all about that,
That
on
was
numerous
the
occasions.
worst.
They love it. Okay, so let me paint a picture, folks.
Okay.
So the
You
Sad
tell the story.
Cafe, the Sad Cafe was this great music venue in Plastow, New Hampshire. For those of you who aren't aware of it, it was essentially a place where anybody of any age could go and perform. You know, it used to be owned by this great woman who really prided herself in providing a safe, friendly environment for anybody of any age to go and play music and to see their friends play music. And it was a great place. So him over there with the phone, taking my photo right now, he did a couple gigs over there, and I was playing guitar for him. And when was it? It was June or July or something like that. It was in the summer.
I'm pretty sure it was a July show.
Yeah. So we go for a Red Cross blood drive.
Yeah, it was like a country best.
Yeah, it
kinda
was a country
thing.
theme night, and the whole room got. It wasn't. It's not that it wasn't open to the public, but it was rented out for the night. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't the SAD running it. It was they came
Well,
in.
that
and
was
rented
also
it
the
out.
first night that it was under new ownership.
Yeah. You're right. Yep. So
that just made it very uncomfortable because you knew nobody personally there. It was a whole new place.
For those of you who know the story of the SAD and know how things went down, it's kind of uncomfortable to think about and talk about. I won't get into that because I don't want to fucking stir up shit. But anyways, so we go, and we were gonna open up for the acts that night. It was these two other country acts from Maine, and we're like, okay, cool, that's fine. And not for nothing, we sucked. That night was not a good night for us.
It was such a bad night.
we were
and that
just
was the
not-
night I was so concerned about Shining too, because I'm like, oh, there's gonna be people there watching.
Yeah. Yep.
They didn't
were
give
they were not
two
into
shits.
it.
Fuck 2 shits. They didn't give 1 shit.
They were
about-
not into it. It was funny. At one point, I was like, "Man, this feels like high school." Like when you go in for like your second gig, and you're just like, "Yeah, I did so good last time," and then, "Oh shit, this sucks." Yeah, so we didn't have our best night, but the second act that night was Lexi.
It was.
It was really funny. They only did. I didn't. Let's just say I didn't stick around for it. I hightailed myself out of that place real fast after that gig.
Well, no, we were. If I remember, we were outside for a while,
Yeah, we were hanging out outside
kind
because
of
that's what you do with the
decompressing
SAD.
after that.
Yeah, we're like,
depressing
okay, well,
act.
that was pretty bad. But yeah, so anyways, she played. They did an acoustic set that night. They played after us. So
I know I saw a little of it, and I enjoyed her. I thought she was pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
And little did we know that.
So push comes to shove. What was that? 8 months later, I'm looking on Craigslist, and they say, "Oh, country act out of Maine for young female country artists looking for acoustic." Like, that's gotta be Lexi. Like, who else would that be? So, and I contacted them, and sure enough, I was like, "Oh yeah." So as I got to know them better, every now and then I'd be like, "So do you guys remember how I actually first saw you guys?" Like, yeah, I played the opening set for that blood drive you jerks were at.
Do me a favor. Never tell me what they have ever said about our set.
They
No, just don't
no,
do it.
honestly, I don't think they even remember. But they remember it being not like anything spectacular,
Ouch.
but neither did we. So, but I honestly think that, you know, I don't think I don't think I remember what they've said about it, but it's funny how it actually came about. I totally forgot about that.
He's being very kind, folks.
Yeah, I am.
He knows.
It wasn't a good
exactly what
night. It
they've
just wasn't a good night. That happens. You know, that happens. But yeah, that's funny. That was when I actually first saw them, and I didn't meet any of them that night. It wasn't until I contacted them for the gig that I started to really get to know them. So I kind of wish I talked to at least one of them and be like, hey, remember me? I sucked that night. And now you're relying on me. Well, not relying, but you know what I mean.
Now you're taking me on tour,
Yeah,
putting me up in hotels.
I know. So it's kind of fun. It's funny how the world works sometimes.
Oh, it's just hysterical. So you got Lexi. What else you got?
I do. I play with a jazz group with a bunch of my friends from school, called the Rhythm Exchange, and we do some pretty fun stuff. You know, I started the group back when I was like, I got to a point where I was like, man, I just want a group that we could go and play like a cocktail hour or things like that to make a couple extra bucks here and there.
Coffee.
Just to play, yeah. Just to play, you know, just read through real book tunes and make like $200, and then that's it, you know, and just get to play jazz and hang out for a night. So, we did that for a while, and then the group kind of like unofficially disbanded.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we really weren't doing a whole lot for quite a while, and it wasn't until recently that they started playing together again, and I jumped back on, and it was great. We did a lot of cool stuff. We've played a lot in Lowell, and we even did a recording for a Christmas album back in October, November, and it was a lot of fun. And that's my outlet for doing stuff that I really, really enjoy to do that I don't get a chance to do that much, and that's jazz. You know, it's just there's no room for jazz in a lot of stuff that I do, and it makes me sad because I love playing it. Yeah, so I do that, and I just recently started working with a cover group out of Nashua called the Clones. Really, really fun group of guys to play with. And
I know
girls.
I'm anticipating seeing one of those shows.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a 7-piece. It's a big group. There's 3 vocalists, and
Wow.
there's then there's a rhythm section. There's me. There's bass, drums, and keyboard.
Hmm.
So it's a pretty hefty group. A lot of fun. A lot of cool covers that we do. We don't really do a lot of like the typical choices, but we don't do obscure choices either. Like you still have heard of the songs, but you know, it's not as popular as going to see like, oh, here's another AC/DC song, everybody. Ready? And 1, a 2. You know, so, and no one counts off AC/DC like that, by the way. So that's a lot of fun. That's sort of like, I'm using that as another outlet. That's where I get to play electric guitar, you know, because I'm the only guitar player in that group, and it's a lot of fun to play electric, and I just get to mess with my shit all the time and just do whatever I want. Well, not do whatever I want. I have to play the song, but you know, it's a lot of fun. So I kind of get a little bit of everything I need. I have acoustic, I have electric, I have jazz, I have covers, I have original material. Lexi is an original artist, so I do get to do original stuff as well. And it's nice to be well-rounded. I also do a lot of, you know, freelance work. I do theater shows, and it's a busy season this year for that.
So
But
it sounds like you do keep yourself pretty busy.
I try to, you know, and if I don't have anything coming up in like the next few weeks, I tend to have a mini freak out, and
Well,
I'll
that's
jump on
actually-
Craigslist to see if there's anything coming up that I
Yeah.
can grab or something like that.
That's actually what I was about to get into is like, I mean, we talked about how it's not a glorious lifestyle. What about some of the struggles that come
God.
along with it? I know last year around the summertime, you were hurting, money-wise at least.
Yeah, well,
You had just bought, well, not bought, you just moved into a new apartment.
yeah,
You
yep.
and your girlfriend Sam.
Yeah, Sam and I moved in to an apartment right around a week before. Okay, so everything sort of happened in the span of a month. Okay, we moved into a new place. I went on one of the radio tours with Lexi. that took me away for a week, and I quit my job. I had a regular gig besides music all throughout school, and I was still doing it up until that point. And what happened was I started to see that this Lexi project was going to start taking away a lot of time. Like, oh, they're going to have me start doing all these trips and stuff. I got to really make sure that I can take care of this with work,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I don't want to constantly have to take all this time off or not be there when I'm needed at my regular job. So for a bunch of different reasons that I'm not going to get into, I left. I left that job. I was just like, you know what? I can't do it. It's not. And it's also, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't want a job. I want to do music. That's the whole point. I have a piece of paper hanging up on my wall that says that I'm a professional musician, whatever that means. And that's what I wanted to do. So I got rid of the job. We moved into the place, and I went on these radio tours and a few other things. The summertime's a popular time for a lot of gigs. And the thing that sucks about it is that teaching is kind of low, during the summertime. Kids are out of school, parents go on vacation, they go all these different places. No one wants to fucking go to some place once a week at 7:00 on a Tuesday night. Like, who the hell cares? So lessons kind of plummet, during the summertime. So, yeah, I mean, not to get too much into it, but money can sometimes be really, really hard. The gigs just aren't there. And the worst thing about it, and I mean, I can get kind of vicious with this topic, but I'm choosing the higher ground. Sometimes venues just don't pay. Venues don't think that they need to pay musicians. And to me, that's just wrong. At the end of the day, it's just straight up wrong. That's not how it works. A lot of times when I go to the union meetings, they like to do this thing where they talk about how, so let's say if you owned a bar, right?
Okay.
And what does a bar need? What's the one thing that a bar needs?
Alcohol.
Booze. You think that when the booze shows up, they're going to be like, okay, you know what? I'll just pay you tomorrow. No. You're going to pay them in full then and there, or you're not going to get your fucking product.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you have this 5-piece group coming in on a fucking Saturday night, your most busy night of the week. They're going to play for 3 hours straight, and you're not going to give them a fucking dime? Are you kidding me? That's wrong. That's just wrong. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you give them enough money to cover their fucking gas tank to get you there. You got to give them something. The whole free food thing, sure, whatever. It's, it's whatever. But to me, it's bad. And what I see, and what really, really upsets me that I see a lot is a lot of groups are made up of guys who aren't full-time musicians. They all have day gigs that get them their money for whatever they do. A lot of them have families. A lot of them have other obligations that they have to see to. And that's fine. That's your path. My path isn't like that. So, and we talk about this a lot within the musician community. Yeah, that's right. The musician community. That sounds funny. That just sounds stupid to say. What we've noticed is what's happening is there's a race to the bottom. I was reading this article in one of the musician monthly magazines I get for the union. And the article was all about how a lot of these groups aren't really worried about the paycheck as much as they just want to go play somewhere. So they're racing to the bottom. And by that, I mean, they're going to compete over playing somewhere by saying, we'll totally play for free. So if you have this venue, if this venue is seeing these 5 or 6 groups that are all fighting to play there for free, then that's just giving the venue the power to be like, yeah, you guys, you can all fucking play here for free.
It doesn't put the power in the musicians' hands anymore.
It's putting the power in the
power
opposite direction.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It really is a shame.
That is.
And the thing is, you can talk to literally every single musician. Like, if you had 10 musicians in the room, they would all have a different opinion about how this should work. But 9 times out of 10, the bottom line is you should pay musicians. You just should.
I absolutely agree.
So I have that to struggle with. And I've
How does it take a toll on? I really don't know. All right, I could say your relationship, but your family life. if
my
you will.
family life? Well, so like my personal life with Sam and stuff
All
like
right,
that.
personal life. Yes.
Yeah,
How does it
sure,
take a toll
sure.
on personal life?
Being 25, I really don't have that many responsibilities in terms of like children. I
Mhm.
mean, some people do at this age, but I'm not one of those people. I'm not married yet. I don't have any kids that I know of. And so that's sort of you're gonna get me into trouble. Sometimes
That's-
I thank my lucky
that's
stars that I'm not in that position because it's just not smart. I'm in this career that's so unpredictable, and it's just not smart to just assume that I can make something work. Whether it's because we live in an apartment, we don't live in a house right now. Whether it's a full-blown house, a child, a wedding to pay for, anything like that, it's just not smart.
And you're in a committed
And-
thing. The relationship.
I mean, we've been together for over 3 years. It's gonna be 4 years this August.
Wow.
And
I have known you
and
guys
Sam's,
as a thing for 4 years.
I guess so.
Damn.
And Sam's great. I mean, I do want to take this opportunity to say that Sam is so forgiving. Shut up. She really is a trooper. I mean, and I told her too, like going into this relationship, I was like, look, this is what I do, and it sucks. It does suck. And she's gone through the ringer quite a lot.
See, and
And-
it's funny because we could probably have a conversation with her and hear the
Oh
opposite
yeah,
side.
we
of-
probably could. And
it-
and she would, and I would hope that she would be honest about how she really feels because she's honest with me, and I know that she would. Okay, I guess this is kind of foolish to say because I know for a fact that she would have no problem telling you like it is. Like sometimes
I know that.
she'd be like, I can picture her now. It's like sometimes it's really hard, but at the end of the day, whatever makes it. That's my Sam impression. If
By the
Sam,
way-
Sam's
by the
gonna
way,
listen to this.
I'm not gonna get you in trouble for that.
Sam's listening
You
to this,
just
and
got
she's just gonna be
yourself
pissed.
in a world
She's pissed.
of hurt right now.
She's gonna text me like in 5 minutes. She's just be like, "I heard you." I mean, you know what? I know a lot of guys who have families, or at least are married, and sometimes it's hard. Unfortunately, I've come across people who've gone through divorce and things like that, because of a career like this and how unpredictable it can be. You know what? It's when I think about it if I think about it for too long, I get kind of nervous and scared about it. So I kind of like keep it in I won't say the unknown, but I kind of keep it on the way back burner. And I guess the safe way to put it is that I'll worry about it when it comes up. And if I'm smart, I'll make smart decisions.
Yeah.
That's how I think life has to work.
I mean, for me,
You have to know your limitations.
Yeah.
You can say that about again, this is about any career, anything like that. I don't know what it's like to be whatever people do. I don't know the world anymore. But I feel like one of the biggest things to know is to know what you're capable of and to understand what you're not quite capable of doing yet at a given point. I'm not one to say that people can't do anything that they want because I'm a firm believer that people can do anything they want to do if they know how to go about doing it. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but you got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I don't have this long romantic story about how I made $1 million opening up some company or starting some fucking app or things like that. So I don't really know that aspect of living a life like that. But I do think that the mindset is the same, that if you know what you're doing and you know how to make smart decisions, you can be successful. And it's the level of success that you decide for yourself that will help determine that, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Perfectly said, actually.
Once again, I feel like I'm rambling.
This is kind of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I mean, I will say that it's always a new, it's a new challenge every day.
God, Eric, you're rambling. Shut the fuck up, please.
Okay.
He's actually shut up. I've never heard him be quiet for
yeah,
more
no.
than 5 seconds. Holy
Anyway.
shit. I'm so proud to be the person that kind of
Yeah.
shut you up.
Well, there's a few ways you can shut me up, but we won't get into those.
Sam's gonna be calling you again.
I'm checking just to make sure. No, she didn't hear me. Okay.
All right. Okay, the best advice. All right, actually, let me take this back a second. I'm gonna be that guy, the interviewer, that guy who asks that question to every musician that has ever walked the face of the earth,
Oh God.
which is,
Don't do it.
I gotta do it.
Don't do it.
I gotta do it. You're a young musician, or you play a couple instruments. You want to play music. What's the best advice that you can give them?
Fuck! Okay. I'm only kidding. Okay, so personally, I honestly think it's very important to know how to read music. That's a cop out. I know to some people that's sort of a cop out. You don't have to read music to be a success. I mean, there's a long line of people. Buddy Rich, Jimi Hendrix. A lot of people didn't know how to read a single note. But I honestly think that that's something that you can wear as a badge.
It's another tool in
You know
your
what I mean?
toolbox.
Yeah, I like when people start. I'll be in rooms or rehearsals or things like that, and some people there can read, some people there can't read, and it's like, okay, I start having conversations with the people who can read, and we know exactly what we're fucking talking about. And then the other people, you have to be like, okay, fret 4 on the B string, you know what I mean? It's again, I'm not one to badmouth people who don't read. That's not what it's all about. If you're a fucking killer player, that's all I need. But I mean, if I want to be that guy, in order to write words on a piece of paper, you need to know the English alphabet or whatever alphabet, you need. You need to know how to read and write and things like that for everyday life. So why not know how to read and write music for a musical life? I just think it's a requirement that a lot of people tend to overlook these days.
And I fully agree. I can read music to a certain extent. I went through all the classes. I just don't read fluently, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I've always had a hard time
That's
with
a
that.
whole.
I could tell you what a note is on any staff and whatever.
Yeah.
But to be like, read this music and play it through. Give me 20 minutes and I can get through it.
Yeah. So other than that, a lot of things can go into play with it. Again, an understanding of what you want. You'll get people who are like, well, I don't really know what I want to do. It's like, okay, so what do you want to do as a musician? I don't really know. I want to be famous. I want to be a session player. I want to play with the Boston Pops. I want to play with Night Shift. I want to do all this stuff. It's like, okay, great. How do you go about doing that? I have no fucking idea. Okay, well, let's work on that. So again, networking. Networking is huge. You are your own company. Everything that you do, every move that you make, every breath you take, I'll be watching you. Yes!
Shit. If Steve was here right now, he'd smack you.
I know. You are your best representation. You're your best reference. You are your only good word in terms of how you are as a musician. Until you start playing with other people who can then vouch for how good you are as a person, as a player, how reliable you are, all that good stuff. So networking is huge. And this is another good thing to mention, going back to sort of the whole reading music thing. A good network is at a school for music, because it's not the only one, doing the shuffle on the streets and at the bars and the club scene and all that stuff. There's a network there as well. But what better way to know musicians than to get to know the people who you're sitting next to in a theory class? It's sort of like it's a perk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
a total perk.
Oh yeah.
Because I still play with guys who I went to school with. Actually, a guy I went to school with just joined the Lexi group.
That is true. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. So a lot of it has to do with who you surround yourself with. And don't be afraid to try something new. You know, if you don't think you're cut out for something, well, relook at that and be like, you know, what does it actually mean to do that? Like here I was, and I am not a country music fan. I'm not really that big of a fan of this type of stuff, but I can play the acoustic guitar. And if it's a gig that's going to pay me, then what the fuck? Like, why not do it? And it turned out to be a really great gig, you know. Learning cover music. Learning covers is always a challenge because it's like, okay, well, I fucking can't stand this song. I've gone through great lengths to avoid learning it. But, you know, if you have to play it and again, if someone's going to pay me, I'll play whatever the fuck you want. I'll play you fucking, I don't know. People listening, think of a dumb song. If you want me to play it, $50. I'll do it.
I've tried to think of any Godsmack song.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That'll cost you $60.
I hate you.
No, but you can't be afraid to do stuff. You can't be afraid, or you can't protest doing it either. Because unfortunately, until you get to a certain point, you can't really reject a whole lot because you need to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be a success and if you want to be someone that people can rely on and count on, you need to go through you need to go through the paces of doing that. And I mean, and that's just me. I mean, you can ask anybody else and it might be a completely different answer than me. And that's fine. You know, and again,
everybody's going to be different.
That's the beauty of it. This is just how I have come to view it through my experiences and my realizations about doing it. And the people who I've encountered and worked for and worked with and or all that stuff. You know, I mean, there's nothing worse than needing a certain player for something and being like, okay, who can I call? No, he bailed. She never got back to me. You know, all this stuff. You just go down the list and be like, all these fucking people, you know, where is the gem?
We've known a few.
Yeah, I mean, I've come across a
that
bunch.
Have been that.
It's just, you know, that's how it is. And that's fine because, I mean, not to be bitter, but those type of people are the people who clearly just don't want it as much as others. And it's sad because... And
you know what? That's absolutely okay, too.
That's okay, too. There's nothing wrong with that.
But you know what I find? What I notice? I could go on forever about
Unfortunately,
this.
we could go on.
The people who are really good like that and have that talent and don't really want it and that's the thing, they just don't really want it, or they are very unreliable, but you want to use them, but it's just they don't care as much as you do.
Sure.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. I mean, and you see that a lot. You see that at every stage, at every level of the game. You know, it's like whether it's your friend down the street when you're playing in your high school garage band, or, you know, someone who's needed for, you know, to open up with Rihanna or whatever, you know, whatever it is. I'm sure it's at every level. Now, granted, I'm not at that level, so I don't really know for sure. But, you know, that's just, it's knowing how it works. I have to assume that it's like that at literally every level. And in fact, the higher you get, the worse it probably gets.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
You know, I mean,
all right, so sum it up. Let's finish it up here.
Sure.
Sum it up. Best advice, couple sentences.
Couple sentences.
Your musical epitaph right here. Did I say that right? I don't even know.
I don't know. Isn't that a medicine that helps you throw up?
No.
That's Epicac.
Yeah. Peter, hold my ears.
Who wants chowder? You know what? In one sentence, do what you're gonna do and know how you want to do it.
Solid.
It's probably if I thought about it longer, it could probably be better than that, but I like that.
No, that's pretty solid. I like it. All right.
Cool.
All right, cool. Well, now we have reached the point in our show. It's game time.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah. I bet you are. I got some good ones for you. So, what we are going to do here, because, you know, here at the With Friends Like These podcast, we like to have fun. We like to have a good time, drink some beers, joke around.
Speaking of which.
Oh, time for another beer. and he said he wasn't going to have the second one.
Hmm.
Bullshit.
Yeah, well, I
As
say a
he's
lot
still,
of things.
as he's still drinking his coffee, which he said
I just
he wasn't
finished.
going to mix.
I just finished it.
You're still mixing it. Don't even start.
Yeah, I know.
Well, what we're gonna do here, Eric, now for our little game today is musical word association therapy.
Oh God,
Uh-huh.
that sounds like a disease.
It kind of does. Where I'm going to say a band or artist, and you are going to look at how. Sorry, side note. Look how
That's a great
perfect
pour.
that beer.
That's a pour. That's a good pour right
Holy
there.
shit! Hold on. Pictures.
Look at that.
Pictures.
Yep, that's a good pour right there.
Hold that up. Yeah, we need to get that on the Twitter and the Facebook. Oh, cheap plugging, by the way. Here we go again.
Cheap plug-in.
Yeah, cheap plug-in, just like the first episode. You can see extra videos that I've been taking, extra pictures, all on the Facebook page and the Twitter page. So go head over there. The Twitter page is at WF something
Something with
I'm
my
such
stuff
a
on it.
bad host. This is awful. I need to write this shit down
You
before.
really should. You really should. You're slacking a little bit.
You know what? Everybody who's listening to this right now is on my Facebook. I am polluting my Facebook with
all three of you.
yeah, with everything, so you can find it there. You know, you can find it there.
Cool.
All right, so yes,
All right, here we
musical
go.
word
I'm ready.
association therapy.
I'm ready.
So what I need from you is the first word that comes to your head. First word or a couple words. Don't hang on it too long.
Okay.
Just tell me what is going. This is my therapist voice, by the way.
I noticed.
It's fucking awful.
I'm not paying for this session, by the way. I don't want no therapist that sounds like that.
So your first word. Oh my god, I need to stop with that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to understand you.
All right, you
Okay,
ready?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. Okay, here we go. I'm good. All right, I gotta think a little bit. Here we go.
This one's a hard one.
Okay.
Nickelback.
Oh God. A mess. A mess. Seriously, a mess. That's what I'm gonna think of.
All right.
Can I give explanations or no?
Sure, go for
Okay,
it.
so I say a mess because here's a group that wasn't really doing anything wrong, but for some reason everybody hates them, and they continue to do what people hated. I don't know. I mean, and I don't listen to them. I don't really have much of a.
Pretty sure you got a CD for Christmas.
You know, I'm not one of the ones that really waste a lot of time bashing Nickelback because they're kind of old news now to bash them. It's sort of like a vintage thing to bash Nickelback these days. But for some reason, I personally don't see the appeal, but there is an appeal somehow. And I guess
I saw on my
I don't
Facebook
see
the
it.
other day, people were very upset that they had to cancel the concert.
I don't see it. I don't get it.
I was like, what? There's actually people upset that they're not going to. Why would you buy tickets in the first
Well,
place?
I remember
Ugh.
when the city of Detroit
They booed him off stage.
or no,
right?
like voted, like had a petition to
What?
prevent them from playing. I think it was, it might have been Thanksgiving. I think it was Thanksgiving. They were all lined up to play the halftime show at the Thanksgiving football game,
Oh wow.
and like the city of Detroit had a petition to keep them out. I'm like, oh my god, that's intense.
That's great.
You had a whole city vote against you playing music in their city.
All right, number 2. The Police.
Creative geniuses.
I like it.
I won't explain that one. That's just that is what it is. That's my final word. I don't have to explain myself on that.
Taylor Swift.
Sharp.
Really?
She's pretty smart. She's pretty smart. You know, I mean, that whole thing with Spotify. She's taking a step in the right direction. And what better person to do that than the biggest fucking name ever?
Fair
You
enough.
know? I mean, I don't have. Okay, that's a lie. I do have one of her CDs. I forget which one. Fearless. I think that's the name of it.
Yeah.
I think. I don't listen to it. I just have it. You know, I'm not a
Okay.
fan. I don't listen to her, but you know, she is what she is. She's one of the largest names in the business right now. So who better to start making decisions like that than her? They're gonna be noticed. you know,
Mhm.
it's gonna be noticed, and that's all there is to it.
Axl Rose. I wish people could see your face right now.
Oh my god, I'm at a loss for words. Bandana. I don't know why. I think I usually see him wearing, like, when he's photographed, he usually has like a bandana on.
Yes.
That's honestly the best I could do because I have no idea what's going on with that group anymore.
Motley Crue.
Drugs.
Okay, fair enough. I think that works well.
Not calling them drug addicts, but just when I think of any group from that era, I just kind of always go to drugs. Either that or VH1 reality shows.
Yep. Yes. Kanye West.
Oh my god, a fucking clown. I don't get him. I don't understand him. I respect what he does in terms of the musical level and being a producer. But why is he got to be such a jerk all the time? Like, I read this one story where I think it was in Australia, and he was at an event. They were doing a show and whatever, and he's ordering everybody to stand up, and he wasn't going to continue on playing his stuff until everyone stood up. And there's a fucking guy in a wheelchair out in the audience, and like he orders the security guards to go over to him and make him stand up. And it was only at that point when he realized that he was in a wheelchair, and he's still like, "Oh, why aren't you fucking standing up?" It's like, he's in a fucking wheelchair. Like,
what a fucking douche.
Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Like, and I get like, and the whole thing with the Grammys that just happened.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten to a point where I'm really not going to let things like that bother me anymore, because it's all fucking it's smoke and mirrors to me. You know, Beck is awesome. Beyonce is, you know, awesome in her own way as well. You know, I'm not a huge Beyonce fan. Nor am I like a very big like I don't bump Beck every day either, but they're both good. The Grammys mean not a whole lot at a leg race
anymore.
No,
which is
it doesn't. It doesn't. It's a great achievement. Don't get me wrong. I'm not cheapening.
Oh yeah, don't knock anyone who gets
yeah.
one.
Oh,
but...
absolutely. Like I would fucking. Oh, I'll take a Grammy, sure, but.
I'd even take a chocolate
Grammy
at this point, to be honest with you.
The problem with a lot of this stuff these days is that it's the public. The public is going to take every little thing that a celebrity does that's obnoxious, and it's going to blow it up, and it's going to turn into this thing where it's the biggest thing since sliced bread, and everyone's going to talk about it for about 5 days, and then it's going to be forgotten a little bit, and then someone else is going to do something just so everything can get started up again. It's sick. It really is.
Yep.
It's a waste of time.
All right. I know this one was specifically tailored to you.
This is fun.
I would hope so. Dashboard Confessional.
Love that group. My late high school, early college career.
All right.
That's all I listened to for like a year straight.
This is a band name. Okay.
Okay. This is a band name.
I've never heard of this band before. But
Maroon.
I just needed to know.
Okay.
What you thought?
Okay.
I can't even. Kiss the anus of the black.
What? What? Wait a minute. Go back. What is it?
It is. Kiss the anus of the black cat.
Kiss the anus of the black cat. And you want to know what comes to my mind when I hear kiss the anus of the black cat? Well, reasons why we are not allowed to do certain things in parts of the country. I don't know. Who the fuck comes up with this shit? Where are they from? They're probably from Europe.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I just randomly Google searched, and I was like, ridiculous band metal names.
Oh my god, that is something else.
In retrospect, what I should have done is probably just found all of those and just kept telling you those names.
I would have been like, what the fuck is this? No, honestly, when I think of that, good luck, bro. That's all I can say about that.
Pantera.
Love Pantera. Feel really bad about what just happened, though.
Yes.
I won't get into this too much, because honestly, I didn't actually read a whole lot of the articles that I saw.
All you really need to know
All
is
I know is that
there
this
was-
local group from Texas
Yeah.
vandalized his gravesite.
Well, it turned out it wasn't. The band had walked away. The lead singer, which is now apparently to the article, former lead singer,
Well, huh.
you know,
Yeah.
did whatever he did to the grave, which he wrote on a piece of paper, a certain word,
Okay.
and left it there, and took a picture and wrote this whole passage of how he hates Pantera and how they're racist and blah 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 blah. All this.
Yeah.
Speaking for the band as well, which was
This group is from Texas.
I believe so.
So a Texan is calling another Texan racist.
Actually, you know what?
Isn't that like the pot calling the kettle black or something?
I think so. I don't know if they were from Texas. That I would have to go back and look. But so like a couple days later, the band issued an apology saying that they had no involvement with this. And then I actually read the kid's apology. It was decent, but you can tell he was like kind of sweating and kind of very frantic.
Were they drunk?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's like, okay, so
I think I honestly, just not to go into it too much. I
yeah,
just think it
no,
was a
but
publicity
so
stunt.
getting back to when I think of Pantera, I think of like a groundbreaking group.
Yeah.
I mean, Dimebag did stuff that no one else has been able to do since. Now, granted, people were doing it at the same time, but not like he was. He was one of a kind, and his sound was killer. It might not be to everyone's liking, but I think it was perfect for what they needed to get. And just for someone to do that, it's like whatever.
Next, Biggie Smalls.
Give me the loot.
Yes, I was hoping for that.
I love
actually.
give me the loot.
That's what I was hoping. Okay. Let's see. Going down the list. Godsmack.
Oh God.
Ha ha ha. Oh God. It's funny.
Local. I'm gonna take the high road and just be like,
Wow.
they're from here. No, I have a family member who's neighbors with the bass player. Honestly, dude, I don't really. I couldn't even name. Well, no, I could name a few songs if I heard them, but I've never listened to them, and it's never been my thing. And that's it. That's really all it is. I mean, I like to give you a hard time about it from time to time, but at the end of the day, I have no dog in that fight. So, and I accept defeat in that way, in that respect. I don't have a dog in a lot of fights, so it's just what I'm used to. You know,
Jimmy Page.
sloppy.
Ooh.
He is
We have had conversations
sloppy.
about
He's
that, yeah.
he's one of the sloppiest players ever. He's fucking killer, and I could talk for days about his rig, but he's a fucking sloppy
All
player.
right, let's go a different genre.
Sure.
Skrillex.
Blenders.
Fucking love it. Okay. All right, ready? Are you ready for this one? Syndicate.
Japanese crime groups.
I hate
That's
you
a loophole and a half.
I hate you so much. For those of you listening who don't know, but you all know, that is my hard rock group, band, name, whatever it is at this point. Symbol. Prince.
or Prince. I love Prince. Genius. All around genius.
All right.
He's a business genius. He was a musical genius. He has an entire subgenre of music that was made because of him. You know, he's that. Where's he from? Minnesota. He's like that Minnesota sound, which it's defined as like a combination of rap and funk and rock and, you know, stuff like that. Soul, R&B.
Metallica.
Tired. Fucking everything up to the Black Album. Fucking love it. Killer. I could listen to that shit every day if I wanted to. Everything after that, whatever. Nowadays, it's like, guys, what?
All right, and let's top it off with the be all to end all, Mr. Jeff Buckley.
Gone before his time. I'll say that. Gone
like
before
it.
his time. He died at 30 years of age.
I have to admit, this was not as funny as I expected it to be. Well, you
Yeah,
did not-
like I kind of like.
I was expecting you to be a little over the top with
Well,
these.
you know what's funny? It's like I got to be honest. The idea of like starting to bash people in the point where people are going to be listening to this and it's going to be like, what if by chance Skrillex gets wind of this and be like, "Hey man, I'm not a fucking blender." Like, I don't know. Like the idea, like I could be really bad. Like people, if you're listening to this and you want to hear me actually shit talk people, we need to hang out like in person. I'm not going to do it on a recording.
I should have talked to you beforehand and been like, no, you need to be like just everything. So you thought about it too long.
I don't know.
You thought way too long about them. You hung on them.
No, that's not true. No, I think I thought a moderate amount on them. Some of them were really good.
Yeah.
Some of them were pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Kudos.
I thought long and hard.
I didn't expect some of those. That was pretty funny.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap up the part 1 of episode 2. We're about an hour and a half into this, and I just want to take the time to say, hey, we talked about that you played for me over the years. You did a lot for me. You are actually probably the main reason why I played my very first show live. So I want to take a minute or so just to say thank you for everything you have done for me, and you've always done it. Like you say, you I think you said earlier, you try to not to play for free anymore. And you've done everything for me as a friend. So I appreciate that. And I want to let you and the 3 people at home listening know how much that is always meant to me. And thank you for coming on and doing this too.
Well, thank you for having me. It was, and you know what? I mean, it's.
Oh, we ain't done yet. You will be back.
No, I thank you for that. It's we had a lot of good times, no doubt, and
we've had a lot of good times, and we've also had our clashes too. I mean,
absolutely.
we could have
do a whole we could have a part 3 on that.
Yeah, but no, thank you.
It'll probably end with some sort of cage badge.
Oh yes, definitely it would, and a chicken without its head.
Oh my god.
Well, we will be back for part 2 with horror films and everything scary like that. That was really bad. Well, till next time. Well, I can't even say till next time.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
We're not done yet. Well, stick around. Part 2's coming up.